Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark movies.
Hi, I'm Brooke, and I am in a Hallmark movie.
And this is the
Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well.
Boy. What a day. What a day today
Yeah, it's
is,
a good
Bran.
day. Woke up with a little spring in my step.
You know, we've had some Hallmark like stalwarts, like Mount Rushmore level Hallmark talent on Deck the Hallmark.
Yeah.
We've never had Brooke Dorset.
It's true.
Never. This is a big deal.
We can-
1,100 episodes.
We can retire after today, I think.
Six-ish years. It's all led to this moment. Brooke Dorsey on Deck the Hallmark. How's it going, Brooke?
It's going so well, you guys, and I did my best to escape this podcast, and you know what? It didn't work, because here I am.
Every time it was close.
This has been a work in progress for a while now. You know, lots of things, moving parts here. A lot of people at play. But you tried to get out of today in particular. You said, I just don't want to talk to you. And I said, not today, Brooke. Not today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you show up.
You showed up, and here you are. We're so happy.
We
So
are.
happy.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm so excited to talk with you guys. I'm a big fan of the show. And I have to ask, did you guys model your show after the Simon, Randy, Paula, love it?
Yes.
I even wear black like
You
Simon.
do.
Yes, we
Yes.
do. You, Bran has been working on his Paula Abdul impression for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the one song I should know by Paula?
Straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, you don't know it at all. Of course you don't. I will say this, and I don't mind the comparison necessarily because there are some similarities here. But when it comes to interviewing, I hope that it's all rise. I also will say
You do have your top five
I
least
do
favorite,
have my
your bottom
least favorite
five.
Brooke movies
we
lined
will
up
go
here,
into those.
ready to go,
No,
and
that's not
complaints
true at all.
about eat. No, we started hoping you'd be on the pod specifically after the Dickens of a Holiday. Because you're so good in this movie. Like it is like it's unbelievable. You give quite a performance. This is when Hallmark was just now starting to let you guys play a little bit more and be a little bit more out of the box. And so I'm going to end up talking to you about that movie like it just aired because it's like it's probably a top 15, top 20 Hallmark movie all time for me.
And
so
none of that has to do with Chris.
no,
Like,
Chris
honestly,
weighed it down. If Chris would have been in it, I mean, it would have been even
that
better.
was the hurdle, I think.
But you, on the other hand. Great.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Brooke, let's go back to the beginning, though, before we get to Hallmark, before we get to Dickens, any of that. I want to go back to your childhood. I would love for you to let us know where you grew up, what you were like as a child, and when you first kind of got that first itch to maybe act.
Well, I grew up in Toronto. My mom, my dad, and my older brother. And my mom said, from a really young age, I just wanted to be on TV. She's like, I don't know where you got that from, but that was just sort of in my head for some reason. But I do remember as a kid feeling like it was my job to entertain people. When my parents would have people come over to the house and they were just trying to enjoy a cup of coffee. I was like that kid. I was like, I could do somersaults. I could do cartwheels. I felt like it was my duty to make sure that they had a good time. Which was like kind of a stressful thing to take on as a kid, but I guess there was just something in me that felt like I needed to do that. But yeah, just like an active kid. I was a gymnast growing up and got into acting right in my school years, like right after high school.
Love that.
So
I love that. I have that child. My youngest is
Yeah.
always putting on a show.
Oh, man.
Always putting on a
Yeah,
show.
and he looks kind of like an old man. He looks like a 4-year-old
He's
man.
a 4-year-old,
and
but he's lived a life.
He has seen some things.
Yeah.
He's a riot.
He'll tell you about
for
it.
sure. So you go after grade school, after high school. It sounds like you go and like you start to make acting like a priority for you. Do you remember your first, the first thing you booked, like commercial or something that you booked? You're like, I'm an actor. I did it.
The first thing I booked was actually a commercial for a department store called Eaton's. We had that in Canada at the time. I think it's now gone under. But they were looking for like dancers and gymnasts, and so I got that first role just because of my gymnastics abilities, and then from that I just started booking other commercials. So it was like a slow build from commercials to guest stars to to the movies and TV, but it was like every step along the way.
So you just keep grinding, right? Were you just taking other jobs? Were you bartending or doing something else where you're trying to find work?
No, it was the strangest path there, you guys. Like, okay, so I was in college, and I was kind of like, amassing the student debt. I was like, I'm never going to be able to pay this off. I knew I had this feeling that I wanted to try acting, but I had no idea where to begin. So I thought, well, maybe I have to build some kind of a resume. So maybe I'll go ask to be in student films and build it that way. So I went to a school downtown Toronto, and I knocked on the door, and I was like, hi. A friend took like a photo of me, and like I had, just high school theater credits on my resume. And I walked in and I was like, hi, I just would really love to be in some student films. I'm just here to drop off my resume. And the guy at the school goes, oh, great. He goes, would you like to teach the program? And I'm like, what? Exactly what? I was like, I'm sorry, I'm here to be in student films because I don't know. He's like, no, it's $40 an hour. You'll be teaching workshops and theory. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I was in no position to say no to $40 an hour. So I'm like 40 bucks an hour. I can learn. So they said, like, you want to learn something, you teach it.
Yeah.
I went in full steam of like trying to figure out how to teach workshops and how to teach theory classes. And I was in the library just pouring through books. He did give me a somewhat of an audition where he said, okay, I need you to read Joan of Arc, come into the class, give a character breakdown on it, and have the students ask you all sorts of questions. And from there, I will judge how intelligent you are at breaking down character and understanding story. So that was where I started. I went home, I got that book, I read it, I was in front of the class, and then he gave me the job. Can we just pause real quick? We've heard some stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand this. You were a professional acting teacher before you were a professional actor?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. As somebody who also taught with no degree when I was 20 years old, I get this story. I was a teacher, Brooke, for 3 years, didn't have a degree, kind of stumbled my way into it, and just prayed that no one asked any questions. And it worked.
Right.
It worked okay.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I'm like, I love that you have that same story. It was such a strange feeling doing it because my students were either my age or older. And after a year, I remember being in the mailroom. I was collecting my check, and I had decided to then leave. And one of the guys who was another teacher there, he had said, "Oh, I heard you're leaving." And I was like, "Yeah, I just feel like it's time that maybe I get an agent and actually
act?
kind of start doing the thing that I'm teaching." And he goes, "Well, I have one of my great friends that I went to school with is a teacher and is an agent." He's like, "So here's her number if you want to submit to her when you're ready." And that's exactly what I did. Like, it was just, it was stumbling my way through. And also this was sort of the time around like when .com was just in its boom. And I hooked up with this like company that did trailers for movies that don't exist. And it was like just this thing that, the guy was offering free improv classes and you could come in and you could be part of this company, and it was growing. So I got to like learn improv and acting through him without having to pay, because still I, didn't have a ton of money. It was just like piecemealing it all together to try to build some kind of an education. And then once I had enough money, then I actually put myself through, legitimate acting training and scene study and all the rest of it.
Man, that is something.
Did the random number, did she become your agent?
She did become my agent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I love that.
Yep.
I mean, what a time to. Everyone in Canada is so nice. Everyone in Canada, everyone is just showed up. How about a job? $40 an hour.
$40
That's
an
more than
hour.
what we make right now, Brant.
What was
crazy.
going on? What was going on up there?
$40 an hour 20 years ago. Like, are you kidding me right now?
But however, what he did, he admitted to tell me is it's only 2 hours a week.
Okay,
Like,
okay. I can breathe and feel like I'm not a failure as a human being now. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's after the time where you were a professional teacher, before you were a professional actor, that you start getting some smaller roles in the early 2000s on like some movies. Like,
just really quick, did a student ever ask you what you've done? Like, how did you handle that?
God, nobody.
No. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't dare.
Have
her reputation precedes her. She's an acting teacher, Bran.
Yeah, they're all foreign. You probably haven't seen them.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
There's a lot of stuff in the States.
Go on.
So you're getting these parts in like movies like Skulls 3, like stuff like that, or like even a Harold and Kumar movie. Like, how are you? Is this like, are you now in the audition phase where you have an agent and you're auditioning for movies and trying to get parts, or is this just these are happen to be shooting in Canada and they just bring the acting teacher over?
Oh no. I mean, when I was teaching, I didn't have an agent at all. So I hadn't even been through like training. So I had to, first do that, got my agent. And then this was in Canada when I did Skulls 3 and Harold and Kumar and all the rest of it. So then my agent in Canada had submitted me for all that once I had some training.
Gotcha. Do you have like a memorably bad audition? Like you went on an audition and you were just like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Oh, I remember I would call my mother after every audition and we would either be laughing or crying. I always say, like, Brooke, you need to be writing these down. Please write these down. You're going to want to remember these one day. And I never did. I wish I did, because I could give you that story. I could give you 10 of those stories, but they've escaped me at this point.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But when you were doing all of these auditions, what's kind of like, what did you learn about yourself as a person? Was there something that you were like, I imagine as you continue to do more and more auditions, you get a little bit more and more confident, I would imagine. So like, what was that process like for you? And what did you learn in that time of like auditioning for projects early on in your career?
Oh, I think you just learn how to, you learn about your body and what you need to do in order to perform at your best. Like, you sort of just learn your process at that point, like how many nights you need to have before you memorize, how much sleep you need, like what you need to eat so that you can kind of like be in the right headspace. There's like a big learning curve. And then how to present yourself, like what works in a room, versus what doesn't work in a room, because sometimes you can just walk in and you're trying to be engaging and whatever you say doesn't land and you've like lost the room before you've even started to speak. And you can feel it when that happens. And it's like, oh, now like you're now in your head, it's not going to go well. So sometimes I learned like walk in that room and just less is more, because I never wanted to set myself up for that feeling. So oftentimes I'm just like, just get in, say hi, and get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Less time to get thoughts in your head there, aside from your character, for sure. So a lot of, when we have actors on the show, they have a similar beginning to their filmography that you have, which is like getting these bit parts on these TV shows and you're trying to land a recurring role or a series regular or something of that nature. Was that the idea for you, or were you just along for the ride? Were you like, or better question, what was the moment where a job that you got, you were like, this is it, I'm not doing this, and made a check, I'm really a professional actor, like this is what I do for a living?
I think it was an MTV movie I did back in 2001, 2002. And I remember getting that job and the feeling, I was bouncing around my living room, just ecstatic, I'm going to be able to do this job. And I think that was the moment where I realized, like, oh, I'm going to be able to support myself, or at least this year anyway, and support myself with with this career. And that just like, I was elated by that feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Starring opposite Lizzie Kaplan, it appears, and Everybody's Doing It on MTV.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. I love it.
You were in 91 episodes of what appears to be
a cartoon
called 16. Six.
I've never heard of it.
Yes. Yeah, it was about six teenagers that work at the mall, and I was a girl that works at the lemon stand, like the little lemon head. But yeah, that's actually come back. It's been in Canada. It's a big show there. I think it made its way here on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network for a minute, but it's predominantly a Canadian show.
Was that your first time doing voice acting?
I had done a couple episodes, I think, of Brace Face. I think that was Alicia Silverstone's show. I did a couple of episodes of that, and then that's when I got 16 shortly after that.
Is there a difference in process for you when it came to like acting when you're on screen versus just your voice, or do you kind of approach it the same way?
It's a little different because you're in the booth, right? Like, so with that show, for example, I was recording. I started in Toronto, and then I had moved to LA. So they had to record me out of LA, and I would do 3 episodes at a time. And so it's basically like you need to really study the script, know exactly what's going on, because you just do your line with like a 1-second pause between each line. So you have to like imagine how the other character is going to say it, right, so that you can respond appropriately. And we would record 3, but like the amount, I would leave there sort of with a tension headache after doing 3 episodes. Because all of your emotion has to like push through your voice. Ugh. So it's like you can't rely on your facial expressions. So like every little expression has to be heard, and you ended up kind of just like up in your head with a tension headache by the end of it. It's
like the opposite.
It's tiring, but
it's like the opposite of COVID when you were doing everything with your eyes, when you were wearing a mask.
You're like,
man, I'm really working out my eyes today.
Yeah.
I really want people to know it.
It's good.
Thank you. I thought it was good.
You had to be. It wasn't bad. I'm sorry for making fun of you. You were also, before you get Royal Pains, which we'll get to in a second, you're also on 3 of the most beloved American sitcoms of the last 30 years, at least most watched, if nothing else. Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, How I Met Your Mother. In any of those...
And an episode of Psych.
Which I love Psych, but people that love Psych really love Psych. Yeah. Any of those shows were you fans of before you got the gig? Were you like a How I Met Your Mother fan and then you get the gig? Was there anything like that happened?
No, I actually, I had, like, obviously I've seen all the shows, but I wasn't watching any of them regularly. Big Bang Theory actually was just in its beginning stages. They hadn't even aired the show when I think I came on to do like the 6th episode.
Oh, wow.
So they didn't even know if they were picked up for their back 9. And I remember like being on that set and then like kind of worried about whether or not they were going to get the full pickup. And I just remember going, I think you guys are going to be okay. I have a good feeling about this. They were just a really special cast, and you could see they had something like really good between them.
Well, that was, I think, both Big Bang and How I Met Your Mother, the first season on CBS, like How I Met Your Mother's same thing. It was like, will it get picked up? It gets picked up, and then they air Big Bang after it. And then both of those shows go on to be cult classics or just classics of like epic proportions. So, yeah, you got to be a part of a lot of TV history there early on.
And she's to thank for both of those.
She
shows.
is. Without Brooke Dorsey, neither one of those go on to do
That's
either.
Exactly right.
And I've said that for years.
That's right.
Let's talk about Royal Pains on USA. Regular cast member on Royal Pains. Huge deal. 75 episodes of a television program. That's a chunk of your life. Like you really like, that's a big part of what it means to be a working actor. How cool was that? What was that experience like?
Well, that was the show where my dad felt like I had made it because Henry Winkler, the Fonz, was my father.
I mean, come on.
So, yeah, like I got the stamp of approval from my dad on that one.
Yeah.
But no, it was when I moved out to LA, I wanted to be on a TV show so badly. I wanted to be part of a cast and have castmates and just feel like what that would feel like. And it was incredible. I mean, we filmed in New York. We were in, our stages were in Brooklyn. We would film in the Hamptons like twice a year. We'd go out there and get all those shots. So, I mean, it was a dream job for sure.
I don't know what the show is.
You know what Royal Pains is?
I'm sorry.
Man. This was like in the heyday of USA television.
Yes.
This is like White Collar, Burn Notice, and Royal Pains. It was like USA was like, hey, do we watch TV on USA now? Like it was like that era of USA television. And Royal Pains was like a huge, huge part of that show. I wasn't like a regular watcher, but it had some big names in it.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, she already said Henry Winkler. I
do know the Fonz. Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
What, getting to do that versus doing a movie? Like, do you have a preference on building a character over multiple seasons versus, with Hallmark building a character in 15 days of shooting? I imagine very different process, very different. Do you have a preference on which of those type of things you prefer?
Well, it's interesting because in TV shows, oftentimes your character just evolves naturally based on sort of what they need in the story. Like for those that have seen Royal Pains, my character started out, I was like, I did a 180 once they added me to the show. Like she started off like just really entitled and kind of spoiled, and then moved into somebody who actually could be a legitimate partner to Paulo Costanzo. But I love both processes. I mean, watching a character evolve is so wonderful to like live and breathe that person for a long time. But then like having these 15-day shoots where you come in, you meet everyone, and it's like summer camp. It's so hard to leave after those 3 weeks with the relationships you've built.
You were on Royal Pains for almost 75 episodes, and there's all these benchmarks when you're a TV, like an actor working on TV. It's like, we want to get picked up, and then we want to make syndication. And then after that, a lot of times, sometimes there are shows where the cast and crew are just this great family, and they're like, we want to do 1,000 seasons. There's other times like Big Bang, where Jim Parsons is like, I've done 10 seasons. I don't want to do any more. And everyone was like, that's great. We respect Jim. Was there a point like where you were like, Royal Pains is amazing and I love it and would do it forever, but were you?
But it's becoming a Royal Pain.
No, but were you excited for the opportunity after 6 years to be like, I get to do something different? Because I can imagine like it monopolizes your time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a chunk of your time for sure. And like the days, everyone knows filming days are really, really long. So we were all incredibly sad to say goodbye, but I think we were also all ready to like go back to our lives. And I took like some serious time off after that show and just reconnected with my family and friends because I'd just been away for so long.
Do you still get, is that like when you go up to, like when we see you at Christmas Con, and so kind of see you, do you still get fairly regularly people who want to talk to you about Royal Pains?
Oh, you mean like a Christmas
Con? Yeah.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah.
That's great.
Paulo Costanzo is out there doing a bunch of conventions right now and holding up the Royal Pains, fort for us.
I love it.
That leads us, I think to Hallmark.
Miss Christmas.
Was Miss Christmas your first Hallmark?
No, my first Hallmark, I filmed in 2011.
Oh, wow.
It was with, and I believe it aired in 2012. It was with Eric Mabius, and it was called How to Fall in Love.
How to Fall in Love.
Yeah, you got one past us. We don't. I just found it here.
It's a nice cover.
It's a great cover.
Yeah. Good looking.
We've had Eric on the show before.
Yeah,
we've had him on.
Oh, you?
Yeah, we've had him on the show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this looks like a cover of a movie that was made recently. This does not look like a movie that was made 12 years ago.
I'm wondering what cover you're looking at. I wonder, can you flip it
It's
around?
on IMDb. You could go to mine. I can try to show it if you can go to mine.
How's that gonna?
Oh, that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good looking poster.
Yeah. No, it is. It looks very modern,
Gosh,
especially
she looks
for
good with glasses.
20.
Cow.
I mean, maybe it's old Clark Kent over there. How about that guy?
Yeah, he was so good in this role.
Well, I guess we got to get to it. Occasionally, producer Aaron is telling us, giving us a thumbs up that yes, it is a great movie that we need to see. So, okay, 2012. Was that an audition? Like, I know that at this point in your Hallmark journey, a lot of folks are probably like offer only, or we have the script for you, or that's kind of how it works with Hallmark with some of their regulars. But at this point in 2012, what was it like? How did you get into that Hallmark world? Because it's kind of its own stream.
Yeah, so I had done a movie called it was for Nickelodeon. It was with Victoria Justice and Brooke Shields, and it was called Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
Classic.
So I had done that. I did that movie.
What did you get to play in Boy Who? Now I'm very curious about Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
Oh, I was a vampire.
Yeah.
I was the villain.
Yes, a villain. Fantastic.
Wow. Love that.
Yeah, I started my career playing a lot of villains. Actually, like that was sort of like where I started.
And that's how you know she's a good actor.
That's right.
Because
if you've ever met Brooke, she is the sweetest human being alive. It's impressive. Range.
So that was, but it was like a comedy. It was a fun villain. And so I started there, and the producer of How to Fall in Love was looking for their girl for that movie, and she, the director of Boy Who Cried Werewolf, had recommended me to her because they were at that time doing a project together. So, it came to me as an offer, and I was nervous, right? It was like my first time doing a job where I knew I was going to be in and day out, like for multiple days. And, you kind of don't know what you're capable of until you do it. I was like, am I going to have the stamina to do it every day and to be able to, you're asking people too, to like tune in and watch and look at your face for an hour and a half. And so you got to I was like, I'm going to see how this goes. And it just went so well. Like Eric is incredible in the movie. I hope you guys get to see it. He's so good.
We're going to have to check it out for sure.
That's actually really fun though, because Hallmark in 2012 was very different than Hallmark in 2017, which is different than Hallmark now. There's like definitely some evolution of Hallmark going on there. So when you did Miss Christmas in 2017,
I assume Royal Pain's probably the reason you couldn't just have a standard Hallmark movie every year. You're busy on this television show.
There was a point where I was also doing some other, like I did 2.5 Men in my hiatus, one of the years. And so I just, at a certain point, I realized doing the show and then doing a job in the hiatus, I was then exhausted when I'd go back to the series. So I kind of at one point just went, all right, I have to relax.
I love it. Yeah.
When you get Miss Christmas in 2017, that's like almost like kind of a golden age of Hallmark. It's when you see the memes about what Hallmark is, like where it's just the girl going back to the town and stuff like that. That all kind of comes from 2016, 2017.
Miss Christmas is like a
classic,
very quintessential Mark Blucas, Brooke Dorsey, the giant Christmas tree, the whole classic. Like that is that's what you think of, like what people that don't watch these movies regularly, like we do, what they think all of them is this blueprint of a movie that happened 7 years ago. Right.
So when you do that movie in 2017, did it feel like it had become a well-oiled machine? Like Hallmark's like, oh, we know exactly the beats that we're trying to hit here, versus in 2012 where it was a bit more of a hodgepodge depending on what you're going to get for each movie.
Yeah, I did feel the shift because so in 2012 were only doing like 23 movies a year at that point. It was very, very different. And then the year after that, I did one with Wes Brown, and it was that same type of feeling. Then like that, I think that was in 2013.
Yeah, it's June and January is what that.
June and January. That was with Wes. So I did when I stepped back in 4 years later. Like it was at that point. The network had I think at that point it was 100 movies a year. Mm-hmm. There was definitely a formula to how these were going to go. But like, what a thrill though, to step in and to see the difference between like then and then now. The fans, like I think they had like doubled or tripled their fans. When I first signed on, I felt like, cause I was nervous and I felt like, okay, well, it's like, it'll be a safe space. It's probably like, I don't know how many people will watch it. So if I don't succeed, well, at least it'll probably like just fly under the radar. Like that was not true. That movie is still airing.
Yeah.
But had I known that at the time, I probably really, really would have been nervous on that set. But
Yeah.
Well, and Miss Christmas is one that we were like recommended until we watched it. That was before the podcast. It was every year people were like, when are you going to watch Miss Christmas? And I think by then it's definitely a machine. And when we get to the movie we're going to talk about today, Crimes of Fashion, I do want to hear a little bit more about the difference now, because talking to actors now, they're even more excited about getting to spread their wings and do even more variety on the network. But then you have a string of Christmas movies in 17, 18,
Christmas
19.
in Love is big for us.
Yeah,
because
Christmas in Love is a big part of our podcast
Yeah.
lore. You guys say, yeah, it is. It's a movie with maybe the worst Christmas movie title of all time. Like Christmas
bad
in Love,
title.
that could be anything.
could
When
be
you're
anything.
on that set, Brooke, are you like, are we going to call it this? Like, right? Like that? You did.
oh no, Daniel Lissing. That was like Daniel Lissing's like his suggestion. He's like, I think it should be called Christmas.
Daniel Lissing, come
We've
on.
had him on this show, and we've now got a bone to pick with Daniel Lissing.
Yeah,
Christmas in Love.
We're gonna bring him back on just to ask him what was he thinking.
What the H, bro? Like, are you kidding me?
But in that movie, it's all about Kringles, and you walk in and you go Kringles, and the whole crowd goes Kringles.
We do that.
Right.
We do that on our podcast, like
On the
if you
regular.
listen from 2018 to 2020. One person will go Kringles, and we'll all go Kringles.
And it got us a Kringles sponsor.
yeah, a Kringle ad.
Racine Danish
Racine
Kringle
Danish
Company.
Kringles, who every year sponsors our show because of your movie.
When we've done live show and we've thrown out Kringles into
We
the
throw
crowd.
out Kringles in the crowd. True story. It's all, and there's actually a GIF. If you search the GIFs of your character going Kringles, and then everybody going Kringles, and we took it and ran with it.
So thank you. Your check's in the mail.
It is not.
No.
It's $40 an hour. Every hour that we say Kringles is $40.
I think
an
we're
hour.
close to 40 now, though. So
Yeah.
we'll-
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Well, I think it was originally called Miss Kringle.
It's a way better title.
it's a better title. Listen,
Yeah.
get it.
But Christmas in Love, you guys remember it, so at least it has some kind of a ring.
I mean,
Absolutely.
IMDb remembers it, Brooke, to be fair, but also you've been on like Miss Christmas, everybody like immediately. Christmas in Love, I have to rifle through the old Rolodex.
I tell you the Kringle movie, and you immediately.
That's
know.
right.
You immediately
Oh,
know.
yes. Or like a Dickens of a Holiday. That's such a unique, if you're making 50 Christmas movies a year, to have one entitled Christmas in Love, I mean, you're just asking for people to not know which movie that is, right? Am I crazy?
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, it lands. It totally lands.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about Nostalgic Christmas?
Trevor Donovan's in
Yeah.
it, and it's the wooden things that
Yes!
do they come to life, or is there some magic in there somewhere? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the dad in the wood shop.
That's right.
And
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was an HMM joint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
yes.
I know my.
I'm amazed that you guys remember all these movies and titles, like, because you've reviewed them all.
Yes.
So this
Yeah,
is-
we have. Yeah, and we can talk about that one, which would be fun. We've met Trevor; he's been on the show as well. We can skip God Wink, and we can go to.
Stop it.
We can go to.
I will just say, you're doing a Christmas movie every year. How did that kind of become the thing? Like I get to do a Christmas movie every year. That's pretty fun and special.
It's the best job in town. I can't say enough good things about it. I am so happy being at Hallmark doing Christmas movies. I mean, it's everything that I wanted in my career in terms of like that feeling that you have with the people you work with and the jobs you're doing. It makes my heart so full. I absolutely love it.
That's yeah, and you can tell too. Like you can tell, and it's something you're a pro. You even taught it before you did it, but then you found a home with Hallmark, and you've had the ability to really even blossom even further. In all honesty, Beverly Hills Wedding, God Went Christmas, those are 2020, early 21. But then we have this regime change, and movies start to look a little different. They start to have a wider spectrum of what the plot could be, who's going to be in them, representation, inclusion, all of that amazing stuff. And the first movie that you're in that what I would consider new era, and maybe I'm just wrong on this, is A Dickens of a Holiday. And we were used to at that point every Christmas seeing of the 40 movies we get, 32 of them are roughly exactly the same. And then the other 8 have a little bit of variation, a here or there. This movie is wild.
Yes.
It is a movie that is I don't think that Hallmark had really ever tackled this like this. And there's so many Christmas Carol variations. When Hallmark makes these movies, they use a Christmas Carol all the time. But you guys took it and had such a modern spin on it. And from Chris, like hearing Chris talk about it, there were scenes where they let you guys just go and do your thing. And there's some and I know I'm talking a lot, but I really love this movie. There's some very special scenes in this movie where you kind of unlock Chris's character as an actor to get him to give a more Scrooge-esque performance. And you do that, like it's a really powerful scene that it just is a marker to me in the timeline of Hallmark movies of when they started letting actors kind of go above and beyond. And so I guess my question is, because I just wanted to rave about the movie because I think it's great. But my question is did you have that feeling on set? Like we're getting to do something. This is different. I've been working for Hallmark for a decade. This is different. This feels different. It is different. I'm proud of this in a way I've not been proud about a movie before.
Absolutely. Because what I noticed on that set, so the moments that were emotional, that actually had real meaning, we were allowed to go into that moment and like dive right in and explore it fully.
Yeah.
And that was so satisfying. Whereas like, and we kind of walked just more like a middle of the road before that. Mm-hmm. But once the network turned and decided like, we'll just go deeper into storytelling, it just made it so much richer for us actors to be able to connect with each other and to like really do our craft,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chris, we're obviously dear friends with Chris, and he always tells us about all of his movies, and he's always positive about all of his movies. But you get to the point with Chris. We've known him for 6 years. I can tell when he's actually excited or when he's getting himself, like he's trying to make himself excited for it. But he came to Greenville after he shot that movie. He was actually with us. We do a marathon to start the year, and he came and joined us here in Greenville for it. And he was talking to me, and it was off camera where you couldn't hear. And he goes, Daniel, I'm telling you, this movie, this is like, and he couldn't stop talking. He was like, Brooke is unbelievable. She's unbelievable. She is raving about you. And the only other movie he's ever talked like that about is Biltmore Christmas, which he made this year. Like those two movies are the movies that he's talked. Okay. And those are the two that I would say, if you're starting a Chris Palaha, like to watch Chris Palaha movies, these are the two that I would recommend you. So clearly special. And you were just so wonderful in it.
He's so excellent. I just remember that moment when he was on stage being Scrooge. Like you could hear a pin drop in that auditorium with the cat. Like everyone was so quiet. The crew was so quiet. And in that moment, I've always sort of thought like, oh, acting is like really like a skill. And then in that moment, I was like, no, it's an art. Like watching Chris Palaha do what he does, like he is an artist. And he gave me like even, newfound respect for the craft. And he's so phenomenal. Like, can't say enough good things about him as a performer.
And you guys bonded on set about your mutual love of Deck the Hallmark.
Yeah, you both loved it so much.
That.
That's
we
right.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we could pull up that video. I think we shot a video.
Yeah. I think I don't know. Well, maybe we'll put it in post. Yeah. It was great. Then you do Wedding of a Lifetime, which is so much fun. You and Jonathan just get to play and do. That was such a fun movie, and that like I love seeing that
like
side
full
of
screwball comedy.
Yes,
it's full zany.
And that was like
comedy.
I think the first time we really got to see Jonathan Bennett do comedy too, like really be zany and have a lot of fun.
Funny,
yeah, that movie had to be a ton of fun to shoot.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I cried. I will say both Dickens of a Holiday and Wedding of a Lifetime, I cried at the end of that shoot. Like I really didn't want it to be over. I was heartbroken. We had a wonderful time. Jonathan is aces. He's so good at comedy. He's so good. He's so emotionally available. I mean, the guy is a true performer. He hosts, he acts. He's on Broadway right now.
Spamalot. That's right.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah. Amazing. Is there a reason in 23 you did the not so royal what Christmas was? Never mind. I saw the beginning of the title and I was like, not a Christmas movie, but totally is a Christmas movie. Last word in the title.
Last word in the title.
It actually says it right there. Right there. Not
You'll
so royal
there,
Christmas.
Though.
I'll get there. Eventually. I will.
You'll get there. Yeah. Shall we get to Crimes of Fashion.
We shall.
A true mystery.
That's right.
Maybe the first of many. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't possible wheel, as
I don't
they call
have
it.
any insider information. But this is a little bit different for you. It's not your standard Hallmark rom-com. So what was it like going into this movie? Where was it like daunting at all? Kind of going into this mystery and playing this psychologist that ends up stumbling into a murder.
In order for me to get my head around things as a performer, I just go, okay, one day at a time, right? Like I just look at what I have to do the night before. Otherwise, I can get too overwhelmed. But if I just take it piece by piece, then this is something that I'm confident I'll be able to tackle. But it was an intense shoot. We filmed it up until 5 days before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So it was cold. We were in Budapest. We were in Paris. We were flipping between nights and days. It was a shoot. I mean, we were in it. But I am so proud of it. The director, you've seen it.
Yes,
right?
we have seen it.
We have seen it.
This director is just so brilliant.
Yeah.
Like with the way he sets up his shots, with the way he directs. Gilles Marini, like what a beautiful soul. I'm so proud of this movie. The script is tight. The story's tight. The music. I saw it myself yesterday for the first time, and I just really think people are going to go along for this
I think
ride.
a couple things, Brooke, and I do have a question about this being a shoot for you shortly. But the movie, you get to cry on cue a couple times in this movie, and it's unbelievable. The acting is unbelievable. That what they're like.
When Brooke cries, I cry.
It is you don't see that a lot on Hallmark, and it's so natural, so impressive. You also get to do some action in this movie, which is amazing. It's in Paris, and you were actually there shooting it for some of it. But we've got to talk not about any of that, and the fact that neither Brand nor I figured the killer out, which never happens.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, never.
Wow, really? You always know.
Actual
We
twist.
typically
Well,
have
it's
an
one of these
idea.
things where most of the mystery movies have a set like we're going to bring you on 100 red herrings, and they're going to all just tell you why they could have done it, and then walk you back off the screen, and it becomes very just like paint by numbers. Yes. And the mysteries are actually more formulaic on Hallmark than the movies. The Hallmark just movies are. This movie's not the case. There's two fun twists near the end of this movie. I think people will enjoy that, especially if you're a sleuther. I think you're really going to enjoy yourself.
Sleuth head.
But if we need to take this out, if Hallmark makes us take this out, that's fine. But I have to ask you because you're here. You do a scene with rats in this movie. A rat, and if you didn't, that's fine. You tell me now because it's the best filmmaking I've ever seen. A rat, you have to stay quiet, and there are rats, plural, crawling on your shoulder, around your neck, over your head, and the director is a miracle worker if you're not doing this because we see your face and the rat. It is a real rat and a real Brooke on scene together. And it is I couldn't believe it. Like there are some actors that just, they wouldn't do it. And you did it.
Tell us you did it.
Did you?
You guys, I did it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. Tell me about it.
I was so excited to film that day because I got to meet the rat ahead of time. They sent me a little video of the rat. And he's these cute little like pink hands and this cute little pink nose. Like these were like pet rats. They were super sweet. So I didn't mind. They were tangled in my hair. They were crawling on my shoulder. His tail whips me in the face. It's next level.
Yeah.
But I love animals, like all kinds of animals. So I had gerbils growing up. I had a hamster, and I don't know. I really love these rats.
Man, so what's wild about that's the pull quote. Just go ahead and pull that quote. I really love these rats.
I really love
Brooke
these
Dorsey.
rats. Put it on the DVD.
But I feel like the best part about this story is that on camera, the acting is you looking like you're hating it.
It's true.
When in reality, you're like, look at the sweet rats, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love those rats. And I do remember I was trying to sell it and being like disgusted, and the director.
What a time to lose her. Perfect. So here's where you cut off, and I'll let you keep going because I was literally on the edge of my seat. You said I had to act like the rats were disgusting, and then you said the director, and then that was it. That's all we got.
Yeah. The director, so I was acting like they were gross and scorpions, and he actually had to pull me down. He's like, okay, you look a little too disgusting. You look like you're in too much pain. So yeah, we had to kind of split the difference.
Just dial it back a little on the disgusting rats talk. I got you.
And did you bring the rats home with you? Like, how much did you love these rats?
I love them so much. I asked, but the woman was attached to these rats. They're like her pet rats.
Were they French rats or?
I'm pretty sure they were French. Yeah,
you could tell too. People that are watching at home, you can tell. You can really take a look at that.
No, if you know your rats, you're gonna see a higher class rat.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you look really close, a little tiny croissant in the hand of the rat. It's really good. It's good.
If you look close, he has like sweet little whiskers and the pink nose. Like, did you really? And they're pretty cute.
Of course, I love Brooke that. Like the rat.
I love
of course.
I love that you met the rat ahead of time.
That's the best.
Let me meet who I'm working with.
It sounds like it was in your rider. Yeah. Like, I'm going to Zoom with that rat.
I got to meet him.
You kidding me?
Very excited for people to see this. Crimes of Fashion.
Killer Clutch. And I will say this.
It's a good title.
The use of the title in the story, the way the story unfolds, there's so many different ways you could take that title, which I appreciated.
That's good.
A lot from a movie like this, where typically that doesn't happen when you get Hallmark mysteries. So I'm excited for people to see it too.
Just really quick, this is unrelated, but I'm seeing it, and I don't know how often you check out your IMDb, Brooke, but looking at it right now, we have upcoming Crimes of Fashion, Killer Clutch, and then upcoming is something called Happy Hour, one episode 2006. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on?
That's really weird. Happy Hour was a pilot I did back in 2006.
Yeah.
We did 10 and then got canceled. So I don't know.
It never got released?
So maybe it's still upcoming. Maybe somebody's holding on to it for the right time.
Yeah, that's weird. No, they released 3 of them. We shot 10, 3, and we were.
Well, there's one episode and it's coming out. It's coming out. We can't wait for that. It's going to be a huge day.
It's going to be
a huge day.
That's right.
Is it time for rapid fire?
It's time for rapid fire.
It's exciting.
Okay.
This is when we each get to ask you 3 questions. And I know that sounds a lot like what we have been doing, but this is different because it can be about anything, which I know also seems like what we've been doing. But this needs to be fast, unless it's not, and that's totally fine.
It's more of the same.
It's more of the same.
Less random. A food in Toronto that you miss or cannot have in Los Angeles or can't get regularly.
My brother's cooking.
Nicely done.
He's such a great cook. Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
That's
well
really
done.
Sweet.
That's unbelievable.
I like that. What is your go-to guilty pleasure thing to watch?
I think Love is Blind is pretty interesting at times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, you really get into the psyche of people, and that one's like, oof, yeah.
You watched the first.
I watched the first season with all
really
of the double deckers. We all did it together.
They put out so much so fast. They're already on season 6, which just seems crazy to me.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's only been 3 years.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And it gets my adrenaline running, and my cortisol is like going off the charts. So it has to be daytime viewing.
Yeah. It's a thriller. It's a thriller.
It's too high. Love is Blind is too high anxiety for Brooke Dorsey to watch before she goes to bed.
I love her so much.
That's the actual pull quote. That's not the rats one. It's that one.
Yeah.
What is there a particularly memorable Christmas tradition from your childhood or from your adulthood even like that is something that when you do these movies it kind of gets you in the Christmas spirit?
The question is can you rapid fire that one to me one more time?
I can rapid fire one more time. Is there a Christmas tradition from your childhood or that you do still to this day that when you're filming these movies you can think about to help get you in the Christmas spirit?
Eat clementines. Eat the little cuties.
The little cute oranges,
yeah, oranges
the little
always
ones.
remind me of Christmas. That immediately puts me back because my parents would always stuff those in my brother and I's stocking. It was
Stocking.
allowed to eat before we'd open presents. So just that whole thing is very Christmassy to me.
I don't have any little cutie experience in regards to Christmas time, but I did read a book, and I have this book now that I read to my kids. It's about a little bear at Christmas time, and he gets a little cutie.
Oh.
So by proxy,
You a child?
no, it's a little orange.
Okay,
They're called
got it.
The little bear did not eat
Got it.
a little cute kid.
Did your parents not put cuties in your stocking?
So
No,
they
did
did not. Brooke, you and I are virtually the exact same age, and mine. I heard about this my dad all the time would be like, we could just put some oranges in your stocking. You could eat that instead of having the toys. That was a joke he would make to me when I was a kid. So clearly he had I think growing up he did it, and then it was something that other people that I knew that were friends of mine did.
I do know it's a thing, yes.
But I never did it personally.
Aaron, did you ever get an orange in your stocking?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
No. But that doesn't surprise me. That is something I'd heard about a lot growing up. Yeah.
Little cuties, little bear.
Little bear. He's just tearing through some kids, isn't he? He's just ripping them limb from limb. Those kids.
I see that you have a pool behind you. You good in there?
Am I good at swimming? Is that what is this
Yeah.
question? Yeah, I can do a pretty mean front crawl. Yeah.
That's good. I'm not good in there. So anytime someone is good in there, are you good in there?
How dare you?
What? It's a good question.
I float around.
Yeah. Yeah, I can kind of, make my way through it if I have to.
I see that's a billiards table back there. You good in there?
I thought it was a great question.
It was blown out before. I don't know how it's now getting both of us, but anyway.
Occasionally
it's great.
it'll come into focus.
Great. Just say it was a good question.
It's
Great
a terrible
question.
question.
Thank you,
Brooke,
Brooke.
don't do that. Brooke, a memorable trip to the theater in your life, like a movie, a memorable trip where you're like, I remember, like for me, it's Independence Day, Will Smith. I was just before 8th grade, and like that was it. That's it.
Could be theater or the theater.
I would say when my dad took me to Twins.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Danny DeVito. Come on.
To this day,
They were just together.
it's the best. I still love that movie. Actually, I watched it. It came on TV the other night. But that was very memorable because of something to do with it was the first time he took me to the movies. It was, or
That's
maybe
awesome.
it wasn't, but it was the first time. It was just the two of us. So,
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Would you rather?
How many of these are we doing?
I've only done that. That's your last one. That's my last one.
Oh, I forgot. Little.
I'm
Cuties
having a
wasn't
good
question.
time.
Bear's just ripping children apart, just tearing limbs off.
Would you rather run 5 miles or walk 20 miles?
Do I have to do either? Okay, hold on. I really only have
I'd
1
walk
mile
500
in me,
miles.
you guys, before my feet are just like, I've got flat feet, so it kind of hurts after a minute. I would take 5 mile run because it's
Wow,
less miles.
that's tough.
Less miles on the feet.
It's less miles.
It's fewer. You don't. There's just five's
Five
fewer
is
than
less
20.
than 20, so I will take 5.
Take 5. Candy bar, also not a sponsor, but could be.
We want you to come back on the show again, Brooke. But after what just happened with Brand's questions, I don't know.
She said it was a good question.
She was pressured into it. Brooke, every time we get to interview someone, we ask them, because we love to bring some joy around here, if there's a charity that you'd like to highlight or spotlight for us, we're going to give some money to and hope other people join us. Is there a charity of such repute?
I love Big Love Animal Rescue. It's a dog rescue. And it's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Big love
Big love.
animal rescue.
Yeah.
Big Love Animal Rescue. I have 3 rescue dogs at home. They're fine by me. Yes, 3 of them.
From the
Big
same
love.
rescue?
3 different
Aw.
rescues. Three different rescues in town, in Greenville here, and we try to support all of them financially. So this is great.
Big love.
We can support-
a great big
support
heart trying
one.
to pretend that you don't love Hallmark movies.
It's a secret, Brooke. Don't let anybody know. I
right.
have to. It's like you with the rats. I actually love these godforsaken movies, and I have to keep talking bad about them.
It's in his contract. I made him sign it early on. We did it, everybody. Brooke, you're the best. We love you so much, and I'm so happy that this finally happened. It made my heart so happy.
It's so fun to talk to you.
Yeah.
And may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.